Hello, friends. So happy to have you here with me today at Radical Joy. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time with us, we're glad you're here. Each Wednesday, I'm here with you talking to myself about things that weigh on my mind and heart, hoping if you're dealing with something similar, we can adjust both our perspectives as you listen. The more people I meet and the more places I go, the more I realize how important it is to make people aware of the fact that there is no shame in enjoying the parts of your life that are incredible. It's time for some radical joy, and this week the three fingers pointing back at me are for now. Okay, what does that mean, James? Glad you asked. Now. I want to encourage all of us, me, we included, all of us. When something crosses your path that you know that you want, and it's here, and it's now, and it's within your grasp, I want you to consider very, very seriously going ahead and grabbing it. I want you to reach out. I want you to touch it. I want you to hold it in your hand. And I want you to feel it and know what it's like to possess it. And I want you to think really long and hard before you let it go. Before you think you'll get it at a later date. Before you'll think, you know what? I'll just do this tomorrow. Friends, I hate to break this to you. This ain't news to anybody. I think we forget often. None of us is guaranteed tomorrow, okay? Not one of us. Nobody. Putting it off tomorrow may mean that it never gets done at all. You just don't know what the next day brings. You don't. This is not me being fatalistic. This is not me being morbid. What this is me saying the opportunities that come to your field of vision may never pass that way again in exactly the same style. Okay. Now, there are a lot of instances I see of this in my life. Lots of them. One of the simplest that I just encountered, we went to Perth not long ago. Whenever we were on tour, we were in Australia and we flew to Perth for, I think, maybe like 48 to 54 hours, something like that, just to do a show in Perth and then come back to Sydney. Super. Well, I like to get postcards while I'm out and about. I do. It's one of those things where I will send those to my nearest and dearest, people who love getting mail, people who really appreciate it or have collections. Wonderful. I send them to my nieces and nephews just to make sure they know that I'm thinking about them while I'm on my travels, especially if it's a place that has really interesting wildlife or there's some really interesting facts about the topography, or if there's a mountain, a valley, a very famous world landmark there. Of course, they're going to get a postcard telling them about that. Why? Well, number one, I want to instill that excitement and enthusiasm for travel in basically everyone that I meet, but especially these children. They need to know that there is more outside Blount County, Alabama that they need to know about and not learn about from a book or some ridiculous thing they read on the internet or the television. No, 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 no. I need them to go and see. My elder niece, she just got back from Paris. She went there for her graduation from high school trip, and I could not have been more excited and terrified for her. If I'm honest, I want to be real candid with you all the time because I know that's just the beginning. Oh, I know it's just the start. And though I love that, it terrifies me because I don't know what that means for her. I hope she grows into the adventurous spirit that I see in her instead of letting life and its trials and tribulations sort of wear her down. She gets postcards. The boys get postcards. The younger girl gets a postcard. Everybody gets postcards because they need to know that Uncle Jamie's out and he's doing this. And not only am I out thoroughly enjoying my life, I'm thinking of them and sending wishes that someday that they'll have this same adventurous, travel-loving spirit so that they can see what's happening, so they can learn from the rest of the world and be better people about it. So we went to Perth, and walking through the airport, once we arrived at Perth, they have tons of these beautiful postcards. They're a little on the expensive side because it's an airport. Everything in the airport is more expensive than it would be in quote unquote real life or in, out in the wilds of the cities and the towns and whatnot. So because they were just a little bit more expensive than I thought prudent, I just walked right by them. Bye, bye. thinking, "Oh, you know what? I'll find a gift shop or I'll go to a Australian Post or something like that and find postcards that I can mail home with the Perth postmark, and it will all be fine. It'll all be fine." It wasn't fine. I didn't find any other postcards while I was in Perth, and when I did get back to the airport in Perth to fly back to Sydney, I could get the Perth airport postcards. I just couldn't get the Perth postmark on them. Oh my God, is that really what you're worried about? No, it's not something I'm worried about. It isn't at all. What I'm saying is, if I had struck when the iron was hot, I could have gotten everything I wanted out of that situation. I could have bought the postcards at the airport. I could have completed them in the green rooms of the theater or in my hotel room. I had stamps already, so that wasn't an issue or a question. I could leave them at the front desk for outgoing mail, and they could have had the Perth postmark before they went back to the United States. And I was worried about 50 cents, which whenever you convert it to USD is probably closer to like 26, 27. And I felt foolish. I felt silly that I let something as trivial as that stand in the way of me getting everything that I wanted. That was very easily attainable. So incredibly easily attainable. It was just what the what? What was I thinking? I tried to save $1 and ended up missing the postmark. Not the end of the world, not even by a little bit. It is an example with much lower stakes. When the opportunity arises, please don't wait. If this is something you know you want, if it's something that you've been waiting for and something you've decided that you want it to come to fruition, and the opportunity shows, take it. Oh my gosh, what? It just always makes me giggle to listen and watch some of these things. I want to make sure that I go back to my notes for this because I took notes on this. There are several things. The Great Barrier Reef in Cairns, we got 4 days off in a row on tour in Australia. And I flew from Sydney to Cairns so that I could get on a vessel, a liveaboard, spend the night, sleep on board, dive, have all the fun. I went on like 5 dives. It was crazy. 4 dives, 3 during the day and 1 at night. And it was absolutely incredible. And a very good friend of mine, who I also nicknamed the stage manager of fun, helped plan that because he thought maybe he would go as well. I would have loved to have had him there. And it just didn't seem to work out because, like, well, whenever I go, I want to make sure that I get lots of dives and we get to see this and we get to do that and we get to da 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 da. It's like, absolutely. I understand that and I respect that. And that's not doing it. What that is waiting to do it whenever I get to do it on my terms completely. Awesome. For me, I don't think I had as much of a concern in that respect. I wanted to do it. Everything lined up to do it. The round trip flight was only $200 to live on the boat and have 4 scuba dives led by certified dive masters was like $400. What? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's not a small amount of money until you start measuring everything that you get with it. You got to live on the boat, so you didn't have to pay for a hotel. They served all the meals, so you didn't have to pay for food. And you got 4 dives that they provided the BCD, the regulator, the mask, the fins, the suit, the tanks, the whole thing. I was like, I'd be a fool. I would be an absolute fool. I would. I didn't have a good reason for not doing it. My buddy did. Great. Okay, super. Please, 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 if there's something you want to do, make sure that you are ready to either face it and know exactly why it is you're not doing it and fear is not among it, or you do it. Just do it. Please. It's crazy to me to watch some of these people. I have a lot of incredible friends. They live very full lives. They are chock-a-block with talent and gifts and looks and good relationships and so many things. And I could just and until we reach the end of our time together. never ceases to amaze me that these people also deal with insecurities and shortcomings and things like that. And why? Because they're people. You absolute fool. Because they're people. They're human beings, and of course they do. And because I know that about these excellent human beings, it stands to reason that many of us deal with something like that. And that's part of the reason why I came to the microphone today with this. I'm like, hey, don't wait. The time is now. Okay? I am a terrible person in so many ways. Now, okay, look, we're going to explain that in a second. Let me get into the sip of tea. If you want to do something and something comes up and I hear about it and it's something that will facilitate you getting to do whatever that thing is you made the horrible error of telling me you wanted to do, oh, I will enable the bejesus out of it. Oh, you could go do this. It's only this much money. And whenever you put it through the conversion from AUD to USD, geez, it's almost sinful to say no. You're not guaranteed the dollar's going to be so strong next year. You don't know that we're going to be coming back to this part. We don't know that we're going to have 4 days off in a row where you could do this part next year. So many things that could get in the way of you doing whatever it was, whenever it's literally served upon a silver platter. I don't think we understand the power of our requests when we ask them. If you dwell on something for long enough and you put enough love energy into it, I find that the larger the emotion I put behind the request, the more quickly it comes to fruition. Whenever I'm feeling so incredibly overwhelmed with emotion, and I mean, it happens to me more frequently now, and I am grateful beyond words for it. It lets me live a fuller life whenever I give my reason over to my emotions, especially if there's not a decision involved. If it's just me being happy because of the whole way the whole day is going, great. If my coffee's on point, if I get a really fantastic breakfast, if I run into somebody that I love on the street that I was not expecting to see, if I got a text message from someone that I hold in very high esteem but don't get to hear from very frequently. So many things can push me into this ecstatic level of emotion. I might cry. Chances are good. I have no shame about it. None. All of these are me. All of these emotions are strong and wild and beautiful, and I'm grateful that I get to experience them to the depth that I do, and they're me. I make no apology for it. I have no shame about it. Okay? When I get to a point like that, whenever my life is so good that I can't hold back the tears or the deep breaths or the way that my teeth start to tingle because of all of the things that are just rushing through me, the wild endorphin rush of this beautiful life that I get to live. That is the moment that I ask the universe for what it is that I want. That is the moment. That is at my most powerful, my loudest universal voice, my most potent vibration is at that precise moment. I journal, I ponder, I ask what it is that I want out of life. And sometimes the answer is very clear, and others not at all. When it is very clear, I try to say it then, and I continue to write about it in my journal, and I continue to repeat it and focus on it and sort of like, bring my desire around it so that whenever I reach one of those moments where my life is almost too good to bear, that's whenever I can open that special bottle that I've held that wish in, and I can throw it into the air, and I can give expectation and gratitude that that's already pretty much a done deal. It's not everybody's flavor what I'm talking about here. I get that. I do. I'm not here to tell you you have to do it the way I do it. What I'm telling you is this is how I do it, and I live an incredible life. Even the dark parts of my life, I give thanks. They're a point of reference. They're something I can use to compare all of the other amazing in my life to in order to continue to ratchet up that gratitude and continue to bring more expectation for more of these good things to happen. Why? Because I am grateful. I'm thankful. And whenever I continue to churn out these huge asks and the universe continues to deliver these enormous gifts, first, thank you. Second, you're listening. Third, let me tell you what else. It's so funny. I spoke with my very good friend today, and we were talking about these things, and she says, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be greedy whenever I am asking the force that moves the stars, that brings life into being, that literally causes the sun to rise and set for something as simple as financial abundance, for comfort, for security. And that's where we come back to these people in my life that are so incredible. And still they think it selfish or greedy to ask. I don't even know how to describe the word. It is literally like a grain of sand in comparison to the size of the universe to ask for these things. Because they don't want to be greedy. I was like, who told you this? We have to break out of this. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for what you want. What you need will be delivered. Maybe more. The minute you start thinking you're being greedy is the moment you start doubting what it is you've asked for. And that's a mixed signal. And that's hard to read for anybody. Even for somebody as omnipotent and omniscient as the one who ignites the stars. They who ignite the stars. However you want to look at it. I'm including everyone here. Please know whenever I say these things, it is everyone. And however you believe, if you believe, that entity is waiting for us to be ready to erupt in joy and gratitude. As long as we're willing to ask. And when it comes along, to take advantage. And that's where this idea of now comes in. Yes, if it's not exactly right, and you know in your heart it's not exactly right, let it go. It's a test. I have no doubt the universe does that as well. Well, they asked for this, and I gave them this minus 1, 2, 3. Are they going to take the bait? Or are they going to have faith that I'm going to deliver everything they asked for? Sometimes the 1, 2, 3 that's over, that's not a deal breaker. The universe withholds that super. Maybe that opportunity will come along again where it literally is everything you requested. Okay. Please, please, please. If the opportunity knocks, open the damn door. Jeez Louise. I see so many people living less than stellar existences. I use those words very carefully. Less than stellar. Okay, great. They're not awful. They're not awful at all, but I know that their soul is 47,000 liters and their vessel is about 19. Instead of releasing that into the abundance and infinity of the universe and with expectation and gratitude, they let it out in little farts, little and that's coarse, that's crass. I'm sorry. And part of me is like, no, really, because I think it's almost insulting to think that we have dreams, aspirations that are so big that an idea, an entity as large as the one that cares for us and continues to conspire for our success and happiness isn't capable of delivering. And so we just little air biscuits of hopefulness instead of this like navel deep belch of please give me this. This is what it is. I haven't held back. I haven't tried to keep it under my breath or hide it under a bushel. I want this. I'm prepared for it. I realize that there's probably going to be painful growth that accompanies it. I want to think I'm ready, and if I'm not, I hope you'll help me. I want to be ready, and I want this for me. That's what the universe is waiting to hear from you, friends. That's what the whole joint is waiting. It's just one big ear propped right in front of your little mouth, waiting for you to be strong enough to say what it is you want without the filter of greed or shame or whatever else that we think we're doing whenever we're holding back. No, no. Bless your heart. You think that your teeny tiny little dream is just too big for the universe to provide. Let me let you in on a not so little, not even close to a secret. It's laughable that you even feel that way. And in order to show that faith, whenever something like this comes across your path and it feels like exactly the right thing, I encourage you to do it. I have this fantastic friend just made in Australia. He is a bartender across the street at a place called the Dancing Bear in Sydney, where we were housed while we were on tour. His name is I don't know his name because I always called him Oliver. It was a game. He called me Steven, and that's just what it was, and I loved it. It cracked me up. He's from Italy. He goes back in December, and he wants to be a DJ so badly. I was like, okay. He says, and the proprietor, our friend Roy, wants him to do a live set at the Dancing Bear, which is this fantastic little specific outdoor venue right across the street from our apartments. It's like, that's awesome. Congratulations. He's like, no, man, I'm not ready. I said, for what? And perhaps it came out just a little bit less kind than I anticipated. But I'm like, you come up with a playlist, you make sure there are smooth transitions, you stand behind it, you set the tone, you give the vibe, and you do the thing. Like, what's your hold up? Like, what's going on? He's like, no, I really want to do this well. I was like, okay. So it's again, I'm so confused as to why we're not already like getting ready and doing this already. He's like, well, because I want to do it right. I was like, okay. You can do it now, right? Well, yeah. I said, you've got the technology, you've got the equipment you need to do this. Well, yeah, of course. Okay. What are you waiting on? What is this issue? Why are we sitting around talking about this instead of you getting out here and doing the thing? It's so funny to me to watch people struggle for an excuse. They'll find it, but if they think for a second that they're not so transparent while they are literally grasping at straws to give me a semi-reasonable excuse for why they aren't just doing what it is they want to do, especially whenever it's so incredibly easy. The invitation was there. It was all literally sitting there in front of him. All he had to do was be strong enough to walk forward and pick it up. And it didn't happen. It's going to. He told me they reached out to me on Instagram to tell me, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. They said he's going to be doing his at Manuel. There it is. Manuel is going to be doing his set. You will already be gone, which is sad. He's doing it, which is great. And I was thrilled. And all I could think about, and this is very selfish of me, but not exactly, but to a point perhaps, yes. If he had gotten off his dead ass and done his set, I could have been there to watch him kill it. But he didn't. It's not my timeline. It's his. I just want to make sure that you guys know the power of now is so it is mind-blowing. It's insane. Especially whenever I talk to him. And these are questions that I ask because I knew the answers already. And it leads to the point of putting someone in a place where they realize that their hesitation is a fool's errand. It's folly. You're hesitating because I don't even know why. There is no good reason why. We were talking about this thing. I was like, have you always been able to speak English? He's Italian. Well, no, of course. I didn't speak hardly any English until I came across here and started working at the restaurant. I said, okay, so if you had waited until your English was better to work at the restaurant, how much more difficult would this have been? When would you have started? He's like, yeah, okay. I said, okay, great. I said, "Have you always been a bartender?" He says, "No, of course not." He says, "This is my first bartending gig." He says, "I'm getting really good at it. I'm very pleased with the way things are progressing." I was like, "Fantastic. Had you waited until you were proficient enough, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, to be a bartender competently in Sydney, which is where we are, how much longer would you have had to wait?" "Okay, yeah, I see where this is going," he says. "This is great. Super. So, if you apply those first two questions and their answers to the next question as why are you being such a chicken shit about being the DJ?" And he just smiled at me. I said, "Exactly. Exactly that, because you have people around here that love you." Ibrahim is another guy that works there at the Dancing Bear. Not his name. Not his name. His real name is Pietro, but he's this enormous guy who works as a physical trainer, personal trainer during the day at the gym. And then at night, he works at the bar, which is amazing. Such a nice guy. Very young, knows a lot for as tender an age as he is. And it's just so fun to me to watch because he and I will hype the ever loving bejesus out of Oliver Manuel. And he'll just like shake his head and no thanks and da 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 and come up with a million excuses whenever it only takes one yes to just take the parachute and jump. She'll open. Oh my God. She'll open. And even if you're still coming at the ground way faster than you're comfortable, great. Bounce, roll. It's fine. All of this is fine. Now is so much more important. You are not guaranteed another opportunity at something that you've wanted forever. I'll never understand whenever people say something like, well, that's okay. If it doesn't work out this time, something else will come around or this opportunity will come around again. No, it will not. Let me be the first one to tell you this. Let me be the guy to absolutely take that adage, write it on a yardstick, and break it over my knee because it ain't nothing but rubbish. Okay? That specific opportunity will never, ever pass your path again. Many may that look very similar. They have a similar structure. They may have a similar pay scale or benefits package or uh, potential for experience in relation to amount of money paid. That specific experience will never be the same. Good news is, if you don't take advantage of it, you'll never know what the first experience was about. Not bad news necessarily. If you do both, because I've done that a few times. That's something that I think we commented on in an earlier episode. There are places that I love to patronize in the city of Sydney. Like there are a couple of bars that I absolutely adore. Some places that we eat because part of tradition and because they're delicious. There are people in that town that I make a point of seeing just because I think they are valuable people in my life. Just awesome human beings. The first time I visited Sydney with this touring group specifically and this promoter, it was one way. This year when I went back, I had a list of these places that I wanted to see again, and they were not the same. They were not. So the opportunity presented itself both times. The experience was not the same. And that's how I can get up here with all my audacity and tell you, it's like, hey, take advantage of it when you've got it. You're not guaranteed another. Okay. You're not promised anything. So if this is something that's important to you, that you've prioritized as one of those like top tier situations, when it is offered, because I'm pretty sure that if you continue to tell sensitive ears you want it, the world will make a way. Make sure that you're ready to take it on. And another thing too, I hear a lot of people say, well, I can't afford that. I can't do this. I can't do that because I just can't afford that. That is valid to a point. I would like to encourage you to find a way to make it happen. Your dreams, your happiness, your peace are worth more than the money you say you can afford. Be responsible, please. Please, please, please. And understand that there is tremendous value in achieving one of those bucket list items. And don't let something as silly and made up as money keep you from doing it. We can all make that. All of us. I'm operating from a point of privilege here. I 100% get it. Oh my God, do I? And my expectation is that more is coming. And my gratitude for what I already have in the bank that can make it possible, or at least give me the comfort in knowing that I can make enough to cover it whenever the bills come due. That is part of the program and the plan. That equation is there. And my faith is great. I am doing this. I am putting this money aside to do this, whether it is a diving trip or a fancy vacation or an Irish wedding or a blue mohawk, whatever it is. When the opportunity presents itself, you flip and get after it. That's it. That's all I got to say about it. Tiny things can move mountains. Now is the time to do these things. If you have asked and the answer is clear, please, please, please send up a prayer of gratitude, put out the vibe of thankfulness, grab that thing and take it home. Do it. Do it. Please, 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 please. You are so much more valuable than the money you say you can't spend. Yes, you are. How do I know that? Because I love you. And because I love you, if you didn't see it, I can see it, and I can tell it to your face. You are worth more than the money you're saving by not going after something you really and truly want and wish to happen and have. That's it. Gosh, I love y'all. Thank you so, so much for being with us. If this is your first time, welcome. So happy you're here for this aggressive moment of positive thought and hopefully inspiration to action. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm thrilled you're here. Thank you for enduring all of this aggression and assertive joy. All I want to do is put it in front of you, friends. So all you can do is take it up with both hands and just shovel it in. No napkin required. Just get it all over yourself. That's perfect with me. Oh, I love y'all. If you are the person that likes to leave a review and you want to leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening, thank you, first of all. Secondly, make sure you get a picture of that 5-star review. Send us a screenshot. I want to send you a sticker. I want to send you a sticker with my face on it so you can put it on your journal. So whenever you're writing your pages in the morning, you can think of the things we get to talk about, the things we are so blessed to be able to share one with another. Put it on your water bottle, put it on your computer, stick it on your windshield. I don't know. Either way, I just want to make sure you know that if you're going to send us a 5-star review, that we repay the favor with a whole lot of love that's got a sticky back. I do enjoy these times we get to spend together. And more than anything, I hope that the time that I get to spend talking with you, that something in here that I have said has moved you enough so that you actually started talking back to me. You started raising your voice at the phone, and you started amening the dashboard of the car or whatever it is, wherever it is you're listening. I hope that something I said was enough to move you to speak to something you know can't hear you. I'm looking forward to packing my bags and heading to Ireland in a couple of days. I have a wedding from friends that I worked with on Royal Caribbean that I cannot wait to attend. Got a couple of days in Paris to see a very special friend of mine. I'm going to a very swanky French bakery that I see on Instagram. The stuff he makes looks absolutely out of this world. I can't wait to stuff my face with that. Coffee outside the Musée d'Orsay with my darkest glasses on so I can watch all the beautiful people walk by. And I'm just grateful. I send up, this is all I ever wanted to be. And the fact that the opportunity continues to present itself is not lost on me. And I'm taking advantage of the now and being a part of it. Love y'all. The bottom line is, use your words, friends. Thank you for joining us again in this moment of radical joy. If this is your first time, we're so happy you're here. Take a moment to check out our archive, see if there's something else that fires you up, rekindles the joy in you. And hey, spread the word if you enjoyed it. We welcome reviews and messages. Let me know what you want to talk about. I rarely run out of things to say. So if there's something on your mind or heart, I want to hear from you. Don't forget, there is no shame in joy. I am not a therapist or a medical professional. If you're experiencing a mental health emergency, please call 911. This content and other content produced by CLW Studios and affiliated partners is not therapy, and nothing in this content indicates a therapeutic relationship. Any opinions of guests on this podcast are their own and do not represent the opinions of James or CLW Studios. Please consult with your therapist or seek one in your area if you're experiencing mental health symptoms. Anything in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Learn more about James and CLW Studios. Follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget to leave a review, and hey, we'll send you a sticker. Just send a screenshot and let us know where you want it sent. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday for another dose of radical joy. Love y'all.